Okay, I've had a lot of friends that got an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker for Christmas, and a lot of them don't even want to take it out of the box because they're afraid to use it. And I've not ever made this recipe. It's the first for me, but it is going to be a Latin beef stew made in the pressure cooker. And the nice thing about the pressure cooker is that it makes your meat very tender and it cooks in about half the time. So I have a 6-quart Instant Pot IP Lux. It's kind of an older one I've had for a couple of years, and I love it, so I bought 2 of them. But most Instant Pots, at least the ones I've seen, will have a sealing ring that will come with it, and you can buy extras, which you should. And you need to put it in around this little wire here, because that's what creates your seal so that the pressure can come to full pressure. And if you don't have it all the way in, it will not come to pressure. And so just make sure that this wire is in that. It's not sticking out in any, if it's like that, it will not come to pressure. So just keep an eye on that. And what we're gonna do, the recipe says that we're gonna start with olive oil. And right here you can see, we're gonna start as saute. So there's a saute button right here. We're gonna push saute, and then it's at normal. I can adjust it to higher, less, or normal, but I'm going to do it just as normal. It gets so hot. And it calls for 2 teaspoons of olive oil. That little beep is just telling you that it's starting. Don't get scared and run away thinking it's gonna blow up. So this olive oil, let me tell you about it, is from the Oil Tree. Look them up on the internet. It's the best olive oil ever. This one is a Baklouti green chili fused olive oil, and it's out of Oklahoma City, so we can just drive over there and buy them. They're a little bit expensive, but they're so worth it, and it doesn't take a lot. It's pure olive oil. It's not like the kind that you're gonna get at the store. So come on over, we're gonna do, calls for 2 teaspoons. There's one. I kind of snuck a little drips in there. It's okay. And then here's 2. This recipe comes from the Skinny Taste website, and it is so good. Everything I've made on there is delicious. And then it says we're going to put in 1 cup of scallions that have been chopped up. So I'm going to add those to it. And then it says that we're going to add 3 garlic cloves, which I cheat and buy this kind. It's just a lot easier. And 1/2 teaspoon of this equals 1 clove. So I'm just gonna dump 1. You can add more. If you like garlic, add more. I like garlic. I'm just gonna add just a tiny more. I love garlic. Okay, so now it's gonna saute. You can look at it. I'm gonna grab a spoon. You can hear it sizzling. It gets really hot. So we're gonna do this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll go to the next step. But while this sautés, what else was I gonna tell you about this machine?
It gets hot, really
Yes,
hot.
very, very hot. The other thing is when you put the lid on at the end, this is the venting seal here, and mine says venting this way, and then sealing in the middle. So when you put the lid on, you need to make sure it's on the sealing position or it will not come to pressure. And if you can see up here, there's this little pin. When it's sealed, that pin will pop up and it will not allow you to open. And so you don't have to, it's kind of a safety feature. And then once at the very end, it's going to, this little display is going to change to an L. I don't know why it's an L, but it'll say L001, and then it counts up. So it's telling you that it's finished for 1 minute, 2 minutes, it counts up. If you just open this, you're going to have a ton of hot steam coming out of this. And eventually that pin will drop so you can open. And that's called a quick release. Or you can just let it naturally release. And if you let it naturally release, you'll just leave this closed. And then right here, it'll say L. Usually it takes about 15 minutes for the pressure to naturally release out of it. And don't let your garlic burn, because then garlic stinks. So now, this looks pretty good. And you can tell it's very, very hot. Hot, smells wonderful, flavorful. And then now we're gonna add, it says to add 2 small tomatoes and 2 tablespoons of cilantro. So we're gonna add that in here. Make a mess. And then we're gonna stir that too. And let that saute for just maybe another minute, it said. A minute or two. And then a pinch of salt. So here is some pink salt that I have. I'm not gonna do a pinch, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit. Not much. I don't use a lot of salt in my cooking. You can add it at the end if you want. And then I'm just gonna keep stirring it for 2 minutes. And then after that, we're gonna do the fun part. We're gonna add the beef. The beef that we buy is from a local farmer, and it is grass-fed, antibiotic-free. And we bought a quarter of a cow this year. The first time. And so this is stew meat from poor Betsy, or whatever her name was. Come look at this. It's starting to look so pretty with the red and the green. That smells really good too. So then we're gonna add the beef along with a 1/3 cup of beer, light beer, of course. Water, 1/3 cup of water. We're gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin and a 1/2 teaspoon of this Goya Saison or whatever you say that. And then we're gonna do a 1/4 of a teaspoon of adobe. If you don't have this, you can just use salt. And then we're gonna mix that all together, throw in a bay leaf, then we're gonna seal it and let the Instant Pot do its magic. And then at the end, after it cooks, we're gonna add some potatoes and some radishes. This is for me, because I'm not doing low carb. This is for Daryl, because he's doing low carb.
The radical radishes.
Radical. So that, I feel like has been about 2 minutes. I don't know. What do you think? You think it's been about 2 minutes yet?
Yes.
Okay. If not, it's still gonna cook. So we're gonna add the meat.
Oh,
And
not the plastic.
and the plastic. Yuck. Okay, come look at the meat in here. Come look. I just turned it off and I turned it back on to a high. I adjusted it to high because I feel like it's cooking. You can see where it's already starting to brown up. A lot of this. I've never had a Latin Colombia style stew, so this will be the first for me. Then we need to add, like I said, a teaspoon of this. Or not a teaspoon, what'd I say? 1/2 teaspoon. This must be some powerful stuff if that's all you need. And it is supposed to be super flavorful, so we'll let you know what it's like. And then, of course, ground cumin, we use a lot of this, so we get the big one from Sam's. Which that did not call for a lot of that. And a cup of water. And a 1/3 cup of light beer.
I don't know how light that beer is. It's beer.
It's beer. That's all we got, so it's gonna have to do. Yesterday, by the way, I cooked with cooking sherry wine, which I've never done before.
She tried to drink it, but I had to stop her.
Yeah. And we actually made some chicken noodle soup for some friends that are suffering with COVID right now. And so We made that with some cooking sherry, and of course a good chef always tastes their food, so I pulled a little bit out to taste it, and it was really good. And then finally, we're gonna add this Adobe all-purpose seasoning, which, like I said, if you don't have that, you can just use salt, and it calls for 1/4 of a teaspoon of this. I'm just sprinkling it around. Okay, come on over. I think we got everything in here. Let me look. Come over and look inside while I look at this. Let's see here. I think we got everything. We just got to add the bay leaf, salt if needed, which we don't. And then we're going to cover the pressure cooker with the lid locked. We're going to cook on high pressure for 45 minutes. So I'm going to grab a bay leaf. I always wondered what these were when my mom used them. I was like, what does she have them for? Now I know. Okay. That's it. So when you're using your pressure cooker, you always have to have liquid in it so that it comes to pressure. At least 1 cup. If you don't have a cup of liquid in there, it's not going to come to pressure. Again, do another double check to make sure your seal is completely in there. Come on over. We're going to set it on here and then turn the lid. If you look right here, can you look right here? You can see that little pop. And that's just a security feature. And here, we're going to close it to sealing. And back down here, we still have it on saute. So we're going to hit cancel, keep warm. We're going to cancel it so it's off. And then we're going to hit meat stew button. And it's 65 minutes, which we don't want. So we're going to go down to 45 is what the recipe calls for. And then we're going to add the potatoes and the radishes. Oh, too far. And then here again, this is where you adjust less, normal, more, but we want more. And then that's it. And we'll come back once it goes beep, beep, beep. When it says beep, 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 it's starting. And then what you should, let me mention this. What you should not see is steam coming up from around the top of this. It should not steam outside of this. If it starts doing that, you might as well turn it off and start over because it didn't get a good seal. So make sure you look at your seal. That's happened to me several times. But it will sit here. It'll take a little while for it to come to pressure. And then once it comes to pressure, this on right here will change to 45 minutes or whatever you have it set for. And then once it changes to that 45 minutes or whatever you have it set on, it'll count down to 0. And then it'll go beep, beep, beep. And then it'll change to L001 and it starts counting up. So we'll be back. Okay, that is correct. So you can see it is counting up L001. If anybody knows what that L means, let me know for this purpose. And so you can see here, the pin, I don't know if you can see it, but the pin is up. So when you release this, it's going to be very, very hot. This silver part is very, very hot, so don't touch that either. And then it's going to let out a lot of steam, so you don't want something up here. And you can put your face over it and do like a facial if you wanted. I would not advise that because it's extremely hot. But it just keeps like all the way top. And it will take a little while for this to completely release all the pressure. The pin will drop, and at that point, it is safe to open. We're going to open it, and we are going to add, according to the recipe, the potatoes and the radishes wasn't a part of it, but we did those because Daryl's doing a low carb. The potatoes were. We're going to add those in there, and then we're going to seal it again for another 10 minutes is what it says. And so it took about maybe a full minute for that pressure to release. And it's pretty much done. You can see, like, I can't open it. The pin's not dropped yet. There it goes. Dropped. So open it. You still have to be very careful because there is still a lot of steam inside. It's still hot. And as you can see on the seal, it starts to come out of that little area there. So when you put it back on, you got to make sure it's sealed up good. That is what it looks like. It looks delicious. Okay. Just adding these in real quick. I'll stir it. Then I'm going to take the lid. I'm going to, let's see, this came out a little bit. Usually after you use the sill once, you probably should go to a different sill because it just stretches out. Hopefully. Close it, lock the ceiling, and here I'm going to do cancel. It says counting up, so 5 minutes. And then I'm going to do it for 10 more minutes, but I'm going to do just manual. And I am going to go down to 10 minutes. So, we just wait now for it to come to pressure again. It's going to do 10 minutes and then we'll be done. Yay! There you go. Heard the beep, and then it has that L 000, and so it's going to start counting up. But my recipe says that we're going to do a quick release. So what do you give it? Out of 10. Oh, 2 thumbs up. It's very hot, isn't it? Like, not,
Heat hot.
yeah, temperature wise.
Yeah, not spicy. For those spicy.
And there you go. We could add some spice to it. This is what it looks like, folks. It is super duper yummy.
Super duper.
Super doopy. And it's 7 points on the blue plan on Weight Watchers. So we decided to add some hot sauce because we like hot sauce, but it is so delicious. The recipe says to put it over 3/4 a cup of rice, which would have added more points for me. And with this meal, I am at 0 points for the day, which is perfect. And it's so good, guys. I love Skinny Taste recipes. They're the best. I've not ever made anything off that website that is not good or the directions aren't good. So you should try it.